So had fun weather proofing the house a little bit. I have got insulation and caulk all over my hands. I was surprised at how big the cracks were around the windows. It's obvious that this was made to be a shed and not a house, because the windows are kind of flimsy, but you know, they're not terribly well made. I used that expanding foam to get corners, some of the gaps that were bigger. And then I'm going to have to shave off what was extra and put some caulking around the edges. Before I forget, everyone be mindful. I've had some calls from some people that are in the path of Hurricane Irma, I think is what its name is. So if we can have in Florida and Georgia in our prayers, and also hurricane victims in Texas. So just rough. Lots of people are having a rough go right now. Remember them in our prayers. John K said, I started up my rocket this morning. It's getting to be that time of year. So do you have a rocket stove or a rocket mass heater? Just out of curiosity. The Have More Farm said most people switch out the windows. Also, the Have More Farm said we are taking 10 refugees so far. Now everybody's getting ready for the storms if they're in the path, and recovering from it in other places. All right, so John K has a rocket mass heater, and what do you think of it, and how did you build it, and did you use cob? Did you use a movable? I'm very curious about that. Adventurous Aardvark said, my mic and camera aren't working. No, I don't think they would in this format, would they? That is in, sorry guys, I'm really tired tonight. I have started biking since the girls have been in school, and working outside recently, and I'm definitely feeling it. Arm said, my cousin is prepping in Georgia and my aunt may be evacuating in Florida. Beth, how are ya? Okie Girl's here, Doug Sweener's here, Biddy Boo Brown is here. So, and on top of that, here in Idaho, we have had earthquakes lately. Last one, the time before, I felt it as just a little bit of vertigo, but apparently we're having a lot of earthquakes right now, which is kind of scary because of how close we are to Yellowstone. Just a lot of upheaval right now. Let's see. Missed something about a pig. I'm not sure. What are you saying, Have More Farm? House said, are you the one that was braiding a rope for your goat? If so, wanted to know if it worked and the goat did not eat through the rope. Yes, I did braid it. No, Dragon has done just fine on his new rope and his tire. So Lori Family Homestead is heading to Deep South. They are trying to get as far away as they possibly can from Florida. What does NW stand for? Remind me. What does NW stand for? Let's see. Yeah, Flying BS Farm said, not to mention the wildfires, yes. Adventures Artwork said, a lot of earthquakes is an understatement. That is true. Our farm said, you have been riding your bike lately. Yes, when I was in my young years, before I had children and a husband. John says northwest. Well, I could figure that out, but I was trying to figure out what northwest, like, is it a state? Is it somewhere in Canada that I'm not aware of? Let's see. Sorry, guys. But I am really tired. As far as the biking, I used to ride a bike instead of using my car. And now that I'm not worried about having little girls with me on the road, I'm riding my bike again every day, and it's been really nice. I got to turn that down because every time he texts me, it makes a noise. Betty B. Brown said, I'm on pins and needles. My ex-son-in-law took my grandbaby on a cruise, and they're, oh, scary. Took my grandbaby on a cruise, and they're in the Gulf right now. I'm one scared Nana. Oh, I hear you there. Concrete Cabin said their state is also on fire. Yeah, everybody is angry. We got a lot going on, don't we? Well, okay, so what we were supposed to talk about today is about the fact that it's getting cold here. Josh from Ascension Mountain Homestead said that up there, they're in the 30s at night already. I would say we're probably in the 40s and 50s. We're still sleeping with the windows open. We just are bundled up with lots of blankets, and that's just to have air exchange. We have vents up in the lofts out, but it is nice to have the windows open. Are you one that was braiding a rope for your goat? Yes, I was. Hey, Amy. Okay, so the sweater is finished. I have to tell you, sweater's finished, and I wanted so badly to go get that zipper today, and I was making cheese, and anyway, I'm really hoping to get that zipper tomorrow. Although I was kind of thinking maybe toggle buttons would be pretty. Yes, I need to get a zipper. I have one that is exactly the right length, but it is a secondhand one, and I didn't realize that at the bottom it didn't open all the way, which we need for a sweater. So I thought I had the right zipper, and then it turned out that it wasn't quite right. Susan Arrington said that they're in the 50s in Mississippi. Rain Country made it. Hooray! And Deep South made it. So I understand that Danny is out of the hospital and that it's a thickening of his heart. I've heard that if you have a lot of physical trauma, our neighbor, he fell and had a wall. He was a hod carrier, and he had like a concrete wall fall on him with a lot of compression to his chest, and he has a thickened heart because of that. And I think it sounds kind of like Patera's husband has the same kind of thing going on, is that a serious illness or some kind of physical trauma to the heart can cause that to happen, so that the heart doesn't the way that it should. Was it that's what happened with Danny? So where were we? Today I insulated the walls, or not the walls. I insulated around the windows. I caulked the windows. Now I just need to get the insulation in the ends up in the lofts. That's the only place that I haven't insulated now, and I need to get some heavy curtains. The curtains that I have made right now are thin cotton. They're cute, but hold the heat in, as well as the thicker curtains that are not very pretty. These ones, they're old shower curtains that I got from the secondhand store. Did you fill up the water by the outhouse? The outhouse, that was the first one that was empty. Go ahead. Please stop. Please stop pouring water on the floor. Thank you. Adventurous Aardvark said, if you make any more sweaters after this, I'm putting you in timeout. Right? The thing is, a year to make this sweater, and it has been super fun up until the end where it was like, seriously, I'm short one ball. How does that happen? And so now I'm totally stressed out because the sweater's finished. I feel like it never finishes though. Oh, I need to go get that zipper so bad. Yep, there's Ascension Mountain Homesteading. I was just telling him about you, Josh. Yep, 39 degrees on the mountain this morning. And here in our area, I wonder if part of the reason that we're not cooler now is that we have a lot of smoke in the air. The girls were in school today, and the last 2 days they haven't been able to go outside for PE.
Well, yesterday.
Oh, did they not do it today? I thought they did it today too.
They didn't do it today. Because it was sunny and
it was sunny and nice. We've had an air quality advisory going on with the girls at school. 1 Acre Homestead said, did you happen to see Doug and Stacy's installation up in their loft? I did, and we saw it in real life too. We saw it when we went to visit them. And I know that they needed to put that vent up in the top of their loft. Our problem is that we don't really, you can stand up in their loft. It's steeply pitched and you can't really walk the loft, but you can stand in the loft. And in ours, you can barely sit up. If we were to add an event like that into ours, it would really cut down on the headspace. I'm not as concerned about it as I think they are. Main reason being that we don't get the rain and the humidity that they have. So our roofing, or not roofing, our inside of the house is easy to take down. If we did feel like that was a problem, we were having mold problems. But we do have vents on either end of the ridge pole. What would you call it? The top of the roof. So we have some pretty good air exchange up there. I don't know if that's good enough, but I guess we'll just have to see. Ventress Aardvark said, or who was it? Who said that there were so many moderators? Somebody said that. Was it the Lemonade Farm said, sheesh, how many moderators are there? And Aardvark says, we have some questionable moderators, so we need moderators for the moderators. That's awesome. Okay, somebody said I'm new. What's your channel about? So Scan Kid. It is about all sorts of things. Farming, gardening, schooling. Now it's about not homeschooling. Gardening, farming, self-reliance, debt-free, that kind of thing. Hey, Mr. Rain made it too. Welcome. They have more farms. I'm questionable. Deep South is a mod. Oh, looks like Rebecca's heading out. See you later, Rebecca. Rain Country, Aardvark being the one in question, of course. It's so true. Aardvark is always a troublemaker. Darn it. Jennifer Penley said, how's Mr. Dirt's schooling going? He is surrounded by high schoolers right now, but I guess they're kind of themselves down a little bit so that there's more adults left in the class, so that's cool. Hope Springs Eternal said, Doug took out the fiberglass insulation and put in some styrofoam version. Gotcha. One thing about Doug's place is that he's not under trees. He doesn't have any shade or anything like that. He's out in the open on his farm. And here we right in between the trees. And we have pretty good ventilation. We don't have a lot of humidity in our area. Once we put the insulation into the house, it stopped getting hot in here. Before we put the insulation in, it was miserable hot, miserable. But once we put the insulation in and got the inside finished up more, now it actually is sweater weather in here and tank top weather outside without an air conditioner. So it's actually pretty nice. Mr. Rain said, I thought you had to be a mod to join the chat. Is everybody a moderator? Country said, it's not every day all the mods just happen to make it to the show, so it's good to have enough overlap when lots are missing. These are funny. See, what else was there to talk about? We do have a project we're working on right now with a new channel that started here locally. It's called The Honeydew Carpenter. That's the name of the channel. And he is going to be working on some projects with me here in the little cabin. And it sounds like he'll also be going up and helping Essential Mountain Homestead with their rough cut sawmill shed. So that'll be interesting. So watch for that new channel to come on. They have a couple videos up right now, but they're trying to get more put up before we leave for Oklahoma so that we can do some more collaborations. 1 Acre Homestead said, just remember that moisture may occur in your ceiling insulation. I think that was a big problem. Well, exactly. And if I'm not sure what we would have done going into it if we had known that that was something that was a big deal. Again, we do have good ventilation up there, and the ends are still open at this point. But I mean, the insulation is packed in there pretty good. We just didn't have room for a vent. There just was not room for a vent that would run the whole length of the roof. To wait and see how it goes. Again, at this point, we're not using a lot of propane in the house, which I know propane builds up moisture. We'll just have to wait and see. There's just not much we can do about it right now. Jennifer Penley said, I'm in California now, but I'll be moving to Rexburg in the next 2 years. What would you recommend planting first? I'm kind of freaking out about the winters. I like to plant my fruit trees first. I get most of my fruit trees from Town and Country Gardens. If I'm going to spend the money on them, it's a great place to get them. They don't carry things that won't survive. And they have a really great, what's the word? A really great return policy warranty on their trees. If you're getting wild crafting trees, I like to get them from Cold something. They're in Michigan.
Cold Mountain Spring.
Cold Farm. What is it called? It's in Michigan. It's a little nursery that starts with cold. I need to look it up. That's going to drive me crazy.
Nursery?
Cold Farm Nursery, Michigan. They have really, really good Coldstream Farm. Coldstreamfarm.net. There we go. They have really great prices and a good, what's the word? Sorry guys, I am so tired. Warranty.
Carving trees.
Mm-mm.
Really
Another good place, if you want cultivars that are more guaranteed, you go to Raintree Nursery. I don't remember where they are, but they have more predictable results. Rather than seedlings, they are cultivated instead of wild seedlings. Whoa. Uh-oh. I'm gonna have to put some odds in timeout. Why? What happened? Melissa Kerrigan said, if you use the small boat heaters, you use wood, won't it keep the moisture out? It sure would. Right now, we're probably going to be depending on propane for a couple weeks. Oh my. Let's see. Mr. Dirt, to have more farm. The rocks breed just fine without her. Why do you guys make fun of my rocks so much? Why do they make fun of my rocks?
Stop complaining. Stop making fun of our land. We can't help it that our land is so rocky. But the trees and plants survive. It's very green outside. Even in the front pasture. Seriously.
Seriously.
Stop making fun of my mom.
Cat Lover said, when will you folks move to Oklahoma? We're planning on the first week of November. However, the place that we were planning on living, we have hit another snag. And so I don't know if there's going to be enough time to work things out before the 1st of November or not. It's been quite interesting trying to work through it. Mr. Dirt, this is not a paid endorsement. What do you mean?
We're gonna go out and start.
Oh, really? Rain Tree Nursery is not far from you, Rain Country? I wish I could buy more from them because I've been really happy with what I have had from them. But I can get it so much cheaper from the Coldstream Farm that I have a hard time justifying getting it from Rain Tree. But I love everything that they show in there. Everything just looks amazing. Mr. Rain, hurry up and ban aardvark. Oh goodness, you guys are so full of it. Chad Bauman says, how long does it take the fruit trees to produce? Usually it takes about 5 years for them to really start producing. That's how old our trees are. They've been producing 2 years, a little bit. Last year the pear trees did fine, but this year they're just covered in fruit. The apple trees are covered in fruit. A lot of our other fruit bushes had more fruit on them, but we had some pretty strong wind coming through that knocked the blossoms off just as they were getting pollinated. The Saskatoon, really well, they're actually kind of going to seed and spreading, so that's kind of exciting. You tell them, girl. Is that about Paige having a bit of a rock rant? Progressive homemaker, that's so true. Mulch is your best friend when building soil. And we have pockets of really good soil on our land. In the backyard where I first started with the mulch, we have a good soil there now that we did just with mulch and ducks and rabbits and that kind of thing. So yeah, we do have some really good soil in certain spots. Mulching, and what I'm doing right now in the geodesic greenhouse is I've got my cardboard, my manure, and now my hay, and so we're getting ready to turn that into a good bed too. Let's see. Pop Hobby Homestead. Wow, you go, girl. Get him. Spunk Creek Cabin. Whoa, Paige, tell him, girl. Linda Kurtz, you go there, Paige. Make lemonade out of lemons. Mr. Rain, why Oklahoma? When we went through Oklahoma, John saw Tulsa Tech and looked into their program and was really happy with it. He'd been looking through other states. He doesn't want to be in Idaho anymore because of the cold winters. And so that's why Tulsa. Cat lover, yes, way to go, Paige. She loves her home and her mom. That's so true. Hey, Michael, how are ya? Oh, thank you, Heidi. Okay, if everybody looks at Rain Country's link, there she has the Rain Tree Nursery link, which they really do have good stuff. Willow Creek is here, yay! Mr. Dirt, stop being mean, Mr. Dirt. I'm not gonna dignify you with a response. Sandra Clark, how many fruit trees do you have? Actual trees, I have 20. I think is about how many I have. Of bushes, if you include that, I probably have probably 100 that I fit in the backyard and along the tree line. The Simple Life said, come visit Hurricane Irma with us. Oh, that does not sound like fun. Dean House said, if more people would go off-grid, what would the big power and light companies do? I guess they would have to lower their rates to bring people back. That would be awesome. Very true. Thomas said, saw your laundry vid the other day. How many gallons initially does it take to fill the hand washer? And then how many gallons do you estimate you use, not rinsing, just washing in total for your 1.5 loads? Okay, so that for the whole load, I would estimate that we use 12 gallons of water between the washing and the rinsing, 12 gallons. And in order to fill the wash for one for one full thing, it was 1, 2, 3. I would say it was 3-4 gallons. A gallon and a half of boiling water and then cold water to fill it up to the fill line. Which I know that sounds like a lot of water. Again, I reused the rinse water for one of those colder loads. recycled. Looks like John is trying to get a hold of me. So to me, it didn't feel like that much water, but I wasn't the one hauling it. The girls were hauling it while I was kind of managing it. And I think it went really smoothly. I really didn't think it would go that smoothly, and I didn't think things would get that clean. Again, I'd used one before and wasn't as good back then. When I was in my 20s, I was living in on the back 40 of my parents' property, and sleeping in a hammock and playing, as you could call it. And I tried using one of those washers, but I wonder if maybe I didn't have my water hot enough, because I don't remember being satisfied with how it went. And I think I tried to rinse in it instead of just having the rinse tub. I think having it just as a rinse tub just sitting there for the clothes to soak in works the best, because otherwise it doubles your time. If you can't just plunk your rinse, then you're also taking the time to swish it in the rinse. And I don't think it's necessary. Things got plenty well rinsed just in the tub. YCM Dill said the deer eat all the blossoms on my dwarf trees. Yeah, there is that. Our deer like to come in and rub the velvet off their horns on our fruit trees. That's what they like to do. Where did you get your fruit trees? I got my wild crafting trees from Coldstream Farm in Michigan. A few of them I got from Rain Tree Nursery, but I got most of my big expensive fruit trees from our local nursery, because I knew that what they would carry would be good for my area and I wouldn't be wasting a lot of money. Progressive Homemaker said soil. I throw out very little. I even compost all my kids' homeschool workbooks and paper into the soil. And that's what I do too. I put it in the compost. I build a raised bed that I board and everything in, and I turn it into soil. Dean, prices of power will go up to compensate for those not paying into the system to support their infrastructure. In fact, I was thinking about Heidi, and when I started doing the laundry yesterday, because I saw their laundry video, and you guys should go check that out. If you want to see a more old-fashioned way of doing off-grid laundry, go check out Rain Country, because they have a more old-fashioned way of doing it. I really like this little machine, I have to say. It was fast and easy compared to when I've done old-fashioned laundry. However, it is nice to have a wringer. I missed something. Betty B. Brown said, we have great winters here in Oklahoma. We were there for late fall and really, really early spring. That's when we were in Oklahoma, and it was beautiful. It was fantastic. Holly in LA said, if John doesn't want to be in Idaho, why have you put so much work into the tiny house? Do you plan to come back there to live after his school is over? One of the reasons we did it was because when we tried to find a place here to rent, helping the renters, we couldn't find anything that wasn't like $1,400 for rent. And on top of that, they wouldn't lease it to us for the 3 months that we thought we were going to be here. They wanted a year lease. And so for what it would have cost for us to rent at $1,400 a month, we were able to buy the little house and get it fixed up. So now we're leaving rather than having nothing to show for having if we'd been paying rent. And the other thing is, I wanted to see what it was like to live in a really little house. I've always wanted to live in one, and I've always wanted to build my own house. We didn't build the frame ourselves. We finished the inside ourselves, and I still have other things to finish. I still need to put in a floor, and in the lofts. What else do I need to finish? I think that's about it. Just the floors at this point. And it's one of those bucket list things that I feel like if you have too many things left in your bucket list, too antsy, it makes you not really know what you want to do in life because you haven't experimented with the things that you always dreamed of. I'm a firm believer in not saving your bucket list until you're actually about to kick the bucket. Live your bucket list. And so I'm living my bucket list. It didn't cost us very much. Everything that we used to finish it was free, or we bartered for what we used. And so aside from the purchase of the shed itself, we don't have any money into it was a really cost-effective way to kind of live out that dream. I think the house is too small for us as a whole complete family. With John not here, we do have enough space, but when John is here, it's not really enough space. There's not enough space around the table. There's not enough space up in the bedroom lofts. There's no room for privacy. And so I think for a family, you need just a little bit more space. As like a stop-by vacation place to come stay when we're visiting family in Idaho, I think it's perfect. For a little Airbnb, I think it's perfect. But for everyday living, I think we could probably use 100 square feet. I think 600 square feet would be just about perfect. Aardvark, I know where you live. You are such... How many trees did you plant and the rocks ate? Hundreds. The rocks ate hundreds of trees and bushes. But they have stopped. They have stopped because I have buried them under so much mulch that the rocks are no longer eating all my plants, and everything is living and everything is fine. Bitty Boo Brown, maybe 4 days a year with below zero weather, but not much snow. Thank goodness. Really. It felt like June here. We were there in March, April, I think. Or was it just March? I don't remember. But it felt like what our summer feels like while we were there. Mr. Dirt, if you don't stop feeding into Mr. Aardvark's rock obsession, I know where you live too. Deep. Serenity now. I must be really far behind. Bitty Boo Brown said it's really rare to get below 20 degrees. That's really interesting. We have had some really mild winters lately. Oh goodness, I missed so much. How did it? Okay, 1 acre farm, 1 acre homestead. Are you attempting a permaculture food forest with your trees? Yes, everything that I have is meant to be part of a system. And I find that my system always works best with animals involved. Important is the ducks. I put ducks in with all of my food forest mulchy areas, and it keeps the weeds down. It fertilizes the trees in a way that I can't get to all of them. I have a lot of trees and shrubs. But if I put ducks out there, then every time that the trees get watered, the ducks go in and fertilize it. And as far as my garden goes, are indispensable. They do such a good job producing manure and eating weeds. They're just amazing. Progressive Homemaker said, I commented on your laundry video that you really ought to have a pulley clothesline. I really like mine. We used to have one in our last house, but I haven't put one in here. I think it would be a really good idea, actually. Mr. Dirt, oh, Bitty Boo Brown, believe me, I'm sold, and the summer has been surprisingly pleasant too. And did you guys buy property in Oklahoma? No. We are creating a little on the outskirts of Tulsa that is a rental property that they're willing to have us bring our goats onto. Right now, our big problem is trying to find a house to put on it. Is there in that area, they won't allow anything that is movable. You can't put a tiny house on it. You can't put a trailer on it. You can't put an RV on it. It has to be a permanent building, and we're having a hard time getting that part put together. Oh, darn it, I keep... Bitty Boo Brown said, we have had a rare summer, LOL. Mr. Rain said, did you guys buy... No, he already said that. Bitty Boo Brown said, normally it's very hot and humid. And Mr. Dirt said, yeah, I hear it can be pretty warm. But Bitty Boo Brown said, we have awesome growing seasons. Well, and that's what we understand. I think Aardvark was telling me that in, like, they had plums, which is crazy. Our blossoms on our trees are just starting in May. Mr. Dirt, eat 85% cocoa, chocolate, and Mountain Dew for test taking really works. Oh my gosh, you would be so buzzed. Let's see. I still need to do a video of me actually washing the clothes with our old-fashioned setup, not the mop bucket method we were trying last summer. Okay. Rain Country said, I've been trying to catch up on your videos on what all you're doing there, Julie. We're considering doing something similar. Well, you know, if you don't have a lot of people and you don't feel a need for privacy, this is really nice. I will admit, though, that the first thing is that your marriage suffers if you don't have some kind of privacy. I think there's probably ways you can get around that by the way that you put your house together. But if you, but the more segregated your house is, so that you have privacy, the less living space you have. And so when you design your tiny house, keep that in mind. It is kind of something that's a big deal. Baby Brown said, Mr. Dirt, if you and Julie decide to move to Oklahoma, I know where some fairly cheap land is. That's awesome. He said, are you still getting spiders inside the tiny house? No, we haven't had any problem with bugs. Not really. And I don't think I'll even have as much problem anymore now that I have the windows sealed. Yeah, there haven't been spiders. We've had a few little tiny flying insects, like the little midges, or what are they called? I don't know what they're called.
Get eaten by flies.
I don't know. Some little things, but I think they came in through the door, not through the cracks. And we haven't had earwig problems in weeks. And so I think little by little,
In a month? In a month?
Yep, you're going to go outside. I love you. And so, yeah, it's getting better all the time. Mister, really, is it cheap like our Idaho land? Oh, you're asking Biddy Boo. You said maybe it's all those Hefner shirts. I kind of tried to downsize the Hugh Hefner shirt collection that John had. They are quite something, aren't they? I tried to send him with a lot of t-shirts to school, and I kept a lot of his Hefner shirts in storage. Song Creek Cabin said, you should do a small house so you can still send the girls or Mr. Dirt to their rooms when they're being bad. I want to have a room that I actually the sleeping loft where John and I were sleeping before, I turned into my crafting room. I need to show it to you guys, but I have my spinning wheels, I have my fabric, I have the loom up there. I have this little foam pad that I sleep on up there by myself. So there's actually room to move around, and it's light and airy and delightful. So I have to show you guys that in a video soon. Mr. Rain. Wow, Mr. Rain. Mr. Dirt. Heidi hit me with an iron skillet when you said something about the Snickers bar and Rockstar energy drink. Right? Biddy Boo Brown. How much land are you looking for? I know how much land John is looking for. He wants something in the neighborhood of like 20 acres, and I want half an acre. Right now, our goats graze on 1/4 of an acre. We have 6 goats, and I keep it really well rotated, and because of that, I'm grazing 6 goats full-time on 1/4 of an acre, and it always looks lush and beautiful. So anything more than like 3/4 of an acre, and I start to feel overwhelmed. I'm really grateful to have the renters here to help with this, because you can grow a lot of food on a really, really small spot. Can you hear Paige yelling at her sister? So for me, I think the perfect size for me is half an acre. I love that size. You can do a really big garden, and you can have room for goats. I just really like that size. Adventurous Aardvark. Aardvark, you're getting on my poop list. You keep saying things. Adventurous Aardvark. Poor John. Life just doesn't have room for you. We have plenty of room for him, but not in the house. And when we get to the little house that's in Tulsa, the one that John is staying in now, there's room for me and John, but there's not room for the girls. John and I have a bedroom, but last time we were there, the girls had to sleep on cots in the living room. And so if when we get back, we have to be in that little house again, what I'm thinking is a good idea would be some bunk beds in the living room with like a curtain around them, because I don't think that's very nice for them to have to put their beds up every day, the cots and everything. That wasn't so much fun. It was really nice to have a bedroom again and have a door, but in that little house, there's just not room for the girls. There's room for me and John, but not the girls. So, Kim Thomas, man, lost you again. How large did you say you thought your home could be with a family? Curious. Our first home was 600 square feet, and there was enough room for John to still have a man cave. We had our bedroom, the girls had a bedroom, and then John had a man cave. And we had a pantry off to the side of the house. We had the crawl space underneath that we used for food storage. We had a nice living room, a nice kitchen, and even a dining room. It was 900 square feet if you included the carport. So I really, really liked that little house. Mr. Dirt, I'm in exile. You are not in exile. You chose to go to Oklahoma. That was your choice. You could have gone to iTech. Let's see. Where did that go?
Yeah, but
dang it. How do I keep?
Nothing to do.
How do I keep skipping it? Oh my goodness. How far behind am I? Okay. I'm going to try really hard not to move that fast. Deep South Home said, Mr. Dirt, I have a year's supply of candy corn. Come to Mississippi. I'm not saying that we don't want John here. We want John here. I'm just telling you how big the house is and how, admit it, John, it was really hard for you to move. Like when we get him up into the sleeping loft, it was like a Herculean effort for him to get out of bed in the morning because the ceiling was so low. And we're not even going to talk about the other side where that was like 8 inches lower. And him trying to get around the table. He's just a big guy, and it's hard for him to fit in the tiny house. All of us are small people. You guys make it sound like I don't like him or something. Yeah, now Wanda's propositioning you. She's offering her candy corn in Mississippi. Wanda, I didn't know you were a loose woman. Stop offering your candy to my husband. Tempting him. Okay, let's see. I wish I could figure out where the chat keeps going. I'm having a hard time scrolling. Y'all make John feel sorry for himself. We still love him. Actually, he's a really good sport about this kind of thing. It was a lot tighter in... Out. No, take it out. When we were in the RV, it was much, much smaller and tighter. And it was interesting because then physically you just couldn't have 2 adults. You couldn't have 2 adults in the house at the same time. There just wasn't room to cook. There wasn't room to do anything. The only time the whole family could be in the RV was if we were sleeping. It was just too small. Let's see. I need to figure out where the chat went. There we go. Bee Lady made it. Yay. Dang it, I keep... Okay, I got all this insulation on my fingers, and it's making it so that I cannot... Okay, Bee Lady said, Julia, I have the little washer used and love it, an older model. Mr. Vane. Oh, how is... Okay, Mr. Vane, I don't know how far back this conversation is now. Homestead said, got to love those ducks. I'm up to 14. Before we left, we had somewhere in the neighborhood of 75 because we had a really good mama duck, a Muscovy, and she just kept hatching them out. As soon as she hatched them out, we'd put them somewhere safe, and she'd start hatching out another batch. And she hatched out 3 batches, and then somebody gifted us some, and then what? Yeah, I think we bought some there somewhere in the middle too. Oh, Progressive Homemaker said, I love your tiny house. You've done such a nice job. I'm kind of living that bucket list item vicariously through you. That's awesome. Brown said, y'all come here. I'm 80 miles from Tulsa. You can have all your animals. That's awesome. See. The Bee Lady Apiary said, Julie, will you be selling your current little house? No, because it's on our property. I mean, I guess we could list it on Craigslist and have somebody come get it. We put a lot of work into it. And when we're here in this area, it would be really nice to have somewhere to stay that we didn't have to pay rent for. And also comes with 2 greenhouses and a garden and goats. So I love it. The Lemonade Farm said, how about building a small log cabin like Becky's homestead did? I think it's brilliant. It cost, I think, if I remember, hers cost her like $23,000 or something, which is about 3 times what we paid for ours. Kind of excited to have this one paid off. And I think that if we do another house, we'll probably just do it conventionally. Something like this. Because I don't know. We don't necessarily have the skills to be able to build the structure itself. It wasn't a big deal to finish the inside since we didn't put electricity in and we didn't put plumbing in. But those skills are really important to have if you're going to build your own home and do it inexpensively. And I feel like I want to kind of do other things with my life besides trying to build my own home. I don't know, maybe in the future we'd want to build another one like this and just add on to the side. I honestly don't know. On to here, but he's behaving semi as work, some but light work. There we go. Betty Boo Brown said, tell you what, when y'all come to visit, I will take y'all to different pieces of land for sale. Mr. Rain said, close is okay. Heidi is like an appendage. Oh, I missed something. Are you talking about how going into a tiny house because Heidi's so little? Close is okay. Heidi's like an appendage. I love that. You guys are awesome. The Bee Lady Apiary said, are they shipped assembled? What did I say, honey? What, John? What did I say? I don't know how far down I need to go. Rain Country. Mr. Rain, at least I'm not a growth. You guys are awesome. Deep South Homestead, Off-Grid Nation loved his Hefner shirt. Mr. Rain, you and your wife are so cute together. It's so funny to read your comments. Susie El-Bazi said, inexpensive, appropriate-looking flooring option would be plywood plank flooring. Many videos about it on YouTube, and it's very simple to do. I think you'd be able to do that one by yourself. That's a good idea. I'll look into that. Bee Lady Apiary said, Mr. B has promised me an RV or tiny house. They're worth having. I think it's a fun adventure to have. Even if you don't stay there, I kind of think it helps you prioritize. Great country. Progressive Homemaker said, the idea of living small really appeals to me. Do you find it more of a hassle or a blessing? I love it. I love living tiny. I love not having a lot of stuff. I love my time outside. I think the thing that I really don't like is the lack of privacy. It's nice to have some privacy. And I don't mind the sleeping lofts so much. I don't mind the lack of space. But privacy. Mr. Dirt said, if you'd leave it wild, we could totally handle 20 acres. What do you mean by, Mr. Dirt, what do you mean by we? Because we only have 1 acre and 2/3, and you don't like yard work on 1 acre and 2/3. And you do have to do maintenance. On a bigger piece of land, you still have to do some maintenance because there's a chance of fires. You can get critters and ticks and and other things on your property that you don't want. And so it doesn't matter. At 20 acres, you still have to do some maintenance. And you could have your shooting range on 20 acres. Yep. Hey, Sunny DIY. Betty Boo Brown said, I know of a 10 and 20 acre piece of land about 7 miles from here. Betty Boo Brown said, I think the 50 acre piece has a house. Rain Country said, I would be happy with 3 to 5 acres, but more is always good. Well, and to me, smaller is better. On 12 acres, and they got a lot done with it, but it was really, really expensive to keep maintained. If you wanted your pastures to be good, you water them, you mow them, you put animals in at the right time. But I've lived on bigger plots, and it's a lot of work. I mean, an acre and a half is a lot of work, and I feel like I can grow as much food on my small acreage as I could on the big acreage because I do it more intensively. Careful with my time. I feel like a really big piece, if it's just you doing it, it's a lot of work. Chicken Mommy said, how about a fold-out couch bed for the girls? That is a really good idea. The couch that's already in the house that John's in now is not a folding couch, but it would be a fantastic idea. It would definitely fix a lot of things. The bedroom in that house is actually long enough that you could probably build in a partition wall, and there'd still be room for privacy, and that would be really nice. But we don't know how long we don't know if he'll still be in that little house when we get there. If he's still in that little house when we get there, we won't be bringing the goats or the animals or anything like that. Mr. Rain, Danny needs to germinate candy corn. That is a great idea. Rain Country said, yes, I want to grow a candy corn plant too. It'd be a nice site to our canned corn tree. That was an awesome video. If you guys want to see a funny video, go see Patrick on Rain Country, the channel Rain Country Homestead. A spoof on, I don't remember why you couldn't use a can opener. Why could you not use a can opener? It was if the power went out and you couldn't, and you didn't have a can opener, but it was awesome because Patrick went and tied it to trees, and it was the whole series that everybody did, like Till House Farm and everybody else, and I think it was Daniel from Arms Family Homestead that started that one, but it was so funny. Deep South Home said, we're going to raise candy corn. I have about 10 different varieties of candy corn. Oh gosh, you guys are funny. Rain Country, awesome one. I need to barter for some seed. Lori Family Homestead said, I've been lost. Uh-oh. Bee Lady, our house is 2,400 square feet, but we would sell. John wants me to catch up on comments, but I don't want to. You guys are so funny. Deep South Homestead says, hey, Laurie, you guys still on the road? Ellen Fisher said, Danny, is it non-GMO candy corn? Nifty Thrifty Homestead made it. Yay. Deep South Homestead said, some of it is made with real honey. I told Danny it was good for me, LOL. Family Homestead is heading to Deep South Homestead tonight, is my understanding, right? Rain Country, our dance and martial arts room is as big as the rest of our house. That's how my dad was. He actually built a ballroom in our house when I was a kid. Later, he added a basketball hoop so the boys could practice their basketball in it too, but originally it was a ballroom. Ellen Fisher, Mr. Dirt, free range candy corn. All right then. Wanda, so you're going to be sharing those seeds soon? Yeah, everybody needs to visit Deep South Homestead. Everybody does. We should all just live at Deep South Homestead because it is the best place in the world. Okay, Kim Thomas said Earthship Homes. I love them, and you can do starting at 10,000. Obviously, if you do the work. John would really like to do an Earthship. That's true. Mr. Ian said Wanda doesn't share candy corn seed. No, she hoards it. She will share other things in her home, but not the candy corn. Rain Country. Got to get that teleporter fixed. Let's see. Bee Lady Apiary said, Julie, you look sunburned. I don't know, maybe I am sunburned. I think it might just be the camera though. And Mommy said, did you figure out how you're going to heat? We have something in the works right now. I don't want to announce it until it's actually starting to get into place, so it's a little bit of a surprise. Right now, we're going to be heating a little bit with propane if it gets really cold, but I do have something in the works to put in here. At night, lately, just turning on the kerosene lanterns and the has been enough to heat the house up at night before we go to bed. It said different goals need different acreage. Yes, that is very true. If you have a goal of wanting to be 100% self-reliant and you have lots of money to be able to put into equipment, then a bigger acreage is a great idea. Just trying to feed your family most of your own grown food, and you can buy hay from somewhere else and you don't mind buying feed for your animals during the winter, then a small acreage is fine. And really wants me to go forward a little bit. Let's see. Betty Boo Brown said, just look at it this way, Julie. The more land, the more trees you have for wood stove. LOL. That's true. Okay, the Have More Farm said, Julie, you're assuming that you have to tend the land in Oklahoma the same way you do in the desert. I grew up with 5 acres and we planted 3 of it. The rest of it we left alone wild, no maintenance. I don't think our renter would let us, or our landlord would let us do that. But yes, I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. In this area, if you let the scrub come in, you lose all your pasture. If you let the scrub come in, you have a real problem with ticks. Let's see. Don Yarborough said, you really need to heat with wood. Propane is wet heat, and in a small space, it's impossible to heat with unvented. Yeah, and we do have it vented. We have 2 vents in the top of the house, and we're not planning on sticking with propane. I don't like it nearly as well as wood. Mr. Rain, just because you have the land doesn't mean you have to domesticate it all, just what you need.
Mom, I need to
see, if that's the case, I don't understand why have the bigger piece.
Mom. If
you're not going to use it, why would you want a bigger piece of land?
Mom, the yellow jacket nests in the tin, they're not dead.
You need to go sort the tin that you got out. You're going to go sort it and stack it because you got it out and then you left it out. Yeah, it's in the bin right there, but it's all over the place. Esther said, you look so tired. Do you enjoy your life? I do enjoy my life. This time of night, though, I'm getting ready to give showers to little girls. I'm thinking about the next day, and me a little bit. I am an introvert. I like to be able to edit my videos first, and so I get tired doing the live streams. They just really make me tired. Okay, Progressive Homemaker said, how did you decide what to keep versus what to get rid of? Was it hard? Did you make any mistakes? What we kept and what we got rid of anything that was a duplicate. I had a really hard time getting rid of books, and in the end, I didn't get rid of them all. I got rid of a few, but I kept most of my books. And about half of them are homeschooling books. I just have some really important curriculum I didn't want to get rid of. Other than that, we just pretty much got rid of stuff that was old or duplicate. And now we're down, everything that we have, everything we own is in the little house and is organized, and it's working really well. I guess, no, I take that back. My canning equipment and all that kind of thing is still out in storage. Okay. Oh, I don't like how it keeps trying to do that. I'm having a hard time. Let's see. What do you mean, Mr. Dirt? How she just volunteered you, Deep South Homestead? What do you mean? What did I volunteer them for? Adventures Aardvark said, if you light a match and your house warms up, it's too small. It's true, but that's actually very true. It means it's too small. It didn't work that way before we put in the insulation. When we were here and we had the house here in May, and it was in the 40s at night, oh my gosh, it was so cold. It was so cold. And so I'm really grateful we have the insulation in now, because now if we light a little bit of a propane heater for 20 minutes, it's warm and nice, which is why I think a rocket mass heater would be the best, because you light the stove and then it lets off the heat over a period of time instead of all, you know, blasting heat out into the room that dies quickly, because it got really hot up in the lofts when we did that before. Okay, I'm gonna see if it's gonna let me scroll down. It won't let me scroll down. Southern Texas Homestead said living smell is great. Less to clean, heat, and maintenance. Hard work equals good sleep. I totally agree. Mr. Rain said, Julie, we're disappointed you guys are moving so far away. What gets me is that we were up in Oregon, Northern Oregon. Were we? Where were we? Where did we go? I was in Swamp Creek. What is your... We were closer than we've ever been before to Rain Country, and we didn't go up and see you guys. I forgot that's where you guys were, and we should have just come and seen you when we were so close. Rain Country, I do not see that myself, Esther, but yes, it's certainly going to be harder without one's other half. I know, as I have been there too. Mr. Rain said propane equals mold. Yeah, when we were in the RV and we were using propane heat, we had a lot of moisture in that house. It was not ideal. Progressive Homemaker said, can you heat stones in the fire and carry it up to place under the bedding? But in the dead of winter here, it gets so cold that the only thing I've really seen that I think would be effective is the rocket mass heater, because a regular wood stove, in order to get it up to heat and then crank it down so that it could smolder at night, it would be too much heat initially, and then I think it would just be miserable up in the lofts. So not real sure about that. Let's see. The Have More Farm said, I like lots of land to walk on and contemplate life. It helps me not want to strangle the living life out of people. I do that here, but I just walk in circles. Instead of like walking a straight line for a long time, I just walk in like a 10-foot radius. And that's what my bike riding is for. I love to ride bikes for that reason. I do like to just get out and think and have quiet. Mr. Rain said, elbow room, bigger property and resources. Can I just tell you, I have so much already on my plate with 1 acre and 2/3. I have 2 greenhouses, gardens everywhere, deep mulch everywhere. The goats are happy here. I really honestly don't know what I would do with more property. I would lose my marbles. Oh my gosh. More space, but I promise I don't need more space. I don't need more space. I like little things. He's a big guy. I like little things to take care of. I'm tired. I am tired. Sunny DIY said sometimes rules are more lax when you have larger properties. That's true. You can hide a lot more of what you're doing on a larger property. In Country said, yep, that is what I find most exhausting. It's not the physical work. It is the video editing and the live streams we're doing. Another reason I had to set aside the live streams for a time. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to do the live streams because you're kind of it just has to be quick fire, and you wonder if you're saying the wrong thing, that people are going to hate you for it later. Shalom Home said, I don't know if people heat traditional homes with diesel, but a number of people in the boating industry heat with diesel stoves. It's supposed to be a lot drier than propane. There used to be a lot of people here that did heating oil, and you can also get the pellet stoves, that kind of thing. We already have the Elmira, but she's just such a big, beautiful beast that I think she'd cook us out just by us putting kindling in her. So, enormous amount of space. The funny thing is I am using her as a countertop and as a cooktop because she has the propane attachments, and I actually love having her in here. She's just a beautiful centerpiece, but she doesn't do me much good as a heating unit. Okay. My goodness, how do I keep... Progressive Homemaker said, do you and the girls spend most time outside or inside the tiny house? I think I split up 50-50. I'm outside most of the time when the girls are not here, getting all my outside work done. And then when the girls are here, I spend a lot of time inside doing editing and that kind of thing. Progressive Homemaker said, is your wood cook stove set up? It is set up for propane on the cooking, on the propane side. My sister said, back when you said everyone should visit Deep South Homestead like 10 minutes ago. Well, I just mean it's one of those bucket list things. For me anyway, it was a pretty big deal. That was like when we started on our RV trip, was we have to go visit Deep South Homestead. Sorry guys. You guys are all so funny today. Bad if I don't get every single last one of your comments. B Lady April asked Julie when you're leaving for Oklahoma. We were set to leave the first week of November, but we're having problems with the house that we were planning on being in. It's incredibly up in the air right now. Betty B. Brown said, LOL, winter's here. I usually still walk around in shorts. We were there around Thanksgiving, I think. We first went through Tulsa, and they had a cold snap that was really cold, and we all got really sick just in time to go into Louisiana. Michael and Jackie said, any advice for keeping warm in a trailer? We're downsizing and plan on living in our trailer traveler. What did we do? We had a lot of blankets up on the beds, and we used a plug-in heater rather than the furnace, and that was when we were docked. If we weren't docked, what I would do in the morning is we just wouldn't have the heater on at night, and we would I would get up in the morning and make tea and breakfast, and that would heat the RV up pretty well for everybody else. Wear layers, wear a hat, and try to travel through areas that are very warm. Like we spent a lot of time in New Mexico, and then as it got colder, we went into Texas, and then as it got colder, we got into Mississippi. And once we were in Mississippi, it was really pretty nice. And then once we got into really harsh winter weather. We were in Florida by then. So we tried to kind of travel with the cold and also avoid the heat at the same time. Acres, where are we? We are in Idaho right now. Chicken Mommy said, you're going to be there in the dead of winter. I thought you were leaving next month. We were planning on leaving earlier, but the renter is due to have her baby in 4 weeks. So she has a month left before she's due. And I mean, we could leave earlier. I could leave as soon as the water's out of the canal. And I mean, we totally could. There's nothing stopping us, but at the latest, it'll be the 1st of November. Betty Boo Brown said, I have for the most part love Oklahoma weather except for the dog days, LOL. They have more farms, said you need less to do. Maybe. I don't know. I enjoy what I'm doing, I guess. I enjoy what I'm doing, and I'm not sure. I'm a little stressed out about getting that zipper for the sweater. That could be a lot of my fatigue right now, is I'm just freaking out because I don't have a zipper. I have to go all the way in Tidal Falls because we used to have 2 crafting stores here in our local town, but they went out of business while we were gone. I think I was the sole person keeping them alive, keeping them floating for all those years, because when we left for a year, I came back and they were out of business, which is very sad to me because now I have to go in Tidal Falls to get crafting supplies. Yeah, Mr. Rain said, Heidi and I have growing pains for land. Yeah, and it's true. When you're in the middle of that spot where you don't have enough space, all you long for is wide open space. It's why the channel is called Dirtpatcheaven. I was so excited to have a bigger piece of dirt. I wanted to have goats. I wanted to have more chickens. I wanted to just have wide open space. But I did know my limit. There were some properties we looked at where the house was trashed, but it had 12 acres. And knowing what our skill level was, that was a bad idea. So we took the one that had and the 1.5 acres and a house that was completely redone and fixed and nice. And it's been good. That I would not have chosen a land with so many rocks. If I'd had a choice, I wouldn't have chosen that, because it has made it difficult to plant things. And it has taken what should have taken a year to figure out. It took me 6 years to figure out in order to how to make things really grow here. I would not choose that for myself again. Being said, it's beautiful now, and now I know how to do it, but that was a long 6 years. Betty B. Brown said, I know where little pieces are too, Julie. That's awesome. The Lemonade Farm said, these days you need 20 acres so the neighbor's pot smoke can dissipate a bit more before it gets to your house. Oh, you're funny. Said, what about a bathroom heater? I don't think we have enough power. Bathroom heater. Because it'll flip a breaker and then our fridge won't work. Once it gets cold enough, we can move the fridge outside, and that's not a problem. It'll keep things cold outside without electricity, but at this point, we can't run that much electricity. Yay, I vote the Rains visit Oklahoma this winter. That would be awesome. Okay. Yeah, so Chicken Mommy, you're plugged in. Why not a space heater? We have one extension cord that runs out to the house, and all that's plugged in is my computer and the fridge, the little fridge. And I have to unplug the fridge in order to be able to use my my saw or anything else. So but not really. Let's see. Maybe I should. I don't know how far I am from the bottom. Bye, bee lady. Tubby Dude said, have you thought about a cubic mini wood stove? That would be awesome. Just sell our big wood stove before we can get a little one. That's where the money would come from. So we do have the wood stove up on Craigslist right now, even though I'm loving cooking on it. But a lot of these little tiny stoves that are worth having are as expensive as our big stove. So Mr. Dirt, it all comes down to a single zipper. It does. If I'd gone and got that zipper today, but I felt bad about driving into Idaho Falls for no reason except just to get a zipper. And so instead I stayed busy here, and now it's just eating at my brain. Betty B. Brown, here we live in Oklahoma. I have some grass year round, so it costs a lot less to feed my critters. That's awesome. Can't imagine that, actually. Have more farm. Well, I'm impressed to no end about you learning to grow anything in the desert. Truly an accomplishment. It has been an accomplishment. Thank you. Betty Boo Brown said, what about a little buddy heater? That's what we used when we were in the RV, and it worked really well. What? Oh, are we out of time? We're 15 minutes over, aren't we? Oh, that's funny. A trash burner. Well, our problem isn't whether or not we have fuel. We have lots of wood. It's about getting a stove set up in the house. Progressive Homemaker said, I'm having that same problem on my current 1.5 acre property. I'm on a slope and used to being on flat land. I'm totally lost on a slope. Let's see, what did Mr. Rain say? You guys probably don't have the room for a mini wood stove in the tiny house. I thought it would be cool to have a travel trailer and build a room off of it and install a stove in it. That's what my dad thinks I should do. He thinks I should put a little add-on onto the side, but I don't want to spend money on it. If we're moving to Oklahoma anyway, I don't want to make any big changes to the cabin. And yes, a little wood stove would totally fit in here. It would fit fine, but I'd have to sell my big stove first. It doesn't make sense to have two wood-burning stoves in a tiny cabin. Even though I love the big stove, it just doesn't make sense to have both. Rebecca said, haha, okay, I'll sit quietly in the corner and creep instead. Donna Hong said, recycle zippers from linen bags, plastic bags. I need zipper that's really long for a big cozy wool sweater that I just finished. I just need it to be really long. I have a long one. But it doesn't look good. I can't put a secondhand sweater on a secondhand zipper on a sweater that took a year to knit and spin and dye. You said earlier Mr. Dirt would love to build an earthship. What about an earthship sandbag super adobe combo house? That would be awesome. Bam Bam said jelly beans. But Aladdin kerosene lamp puts out a great light and a lot of heat. Yeah, we used to have one when I lived off grid when I was a kid. Oh goodness. Sunny DIY said it's 200-ish bucks for 1,000 bags. So you're talking about the earth bags. I've seen those, and I actually have a book telling me how to do it. Too many rocks and not enough dirt. We'd have to actually purchase dirt to put into the bags. In Oklahoma, I understand they don't have quite so many rocks. So I don't know how our landlord would feel about us building an earthship on his property. We would have to ask him. Hammer Farm said, do not sell your big wood stove ever. Store it if you must. Well, we had it in storage, but it was getting wet. We have enough space that we could go out and put it out in the granary now because I have everything else moved out of the granary. But it's making a nice centerpiece and a nice surface for cooking and that kind of thing. So I do like it. It's just, again, it makes me feel stupid to have two wood-burning stoves in the house. Mr. Rain said, put the small stove on top of the big one. Less pipe. That's awesome. Biddy Boo Brown said, LOL, maybe we can work out a deal on the wood cook stove. Yeah. What? Adventures Aardvark said the Have More Farm ditto. You don't want me to sell my wood stove, huh? You don't know how much longer they'll be making wood stoves. Really? Have you guys heard something that I haven't? Thrifty Homestead said that much work deserves a drive to buy the perfect zipper. I agree. It just makes me nervous to still have it in the house. I want to have it wrapped and packaged and zipped, zipper sewn in and ship it off. I just want it to be there. It makes me nervous and I'm holding on to it. LOL depends on Biddy Boo Brown. LOL depends on what land you purchase on the rocks. Rain, got to have ventilation with the lamps. One might consider installing carbon dioxide detectors. Yes, and it's why I still have the vents in the lofts open. They're not covered. Is because I do worry about that, about ventilation. Chicken Mommy said, you're going to build a house on rental land? No, we're not planning on building a house. What we were originally going to do was put a trailer on it, a single wide trailer, but they don't allow single wide trailers on that spot. So we were trying to figure out a way to make it legal to have it there, but now we're having problems with getting the trailer there. So we're just set back a bit, and we're hoping that our landlord does not lose a lot of money by having the guy that sold it to him. Oh my goodness, it's all a mess. Rain Country said, well, shucks, I thought Bam Bam was offering jelly bean seeds to go with the candy corn seeds. Exactly. I'm a half hippie. Are you going to bring the big stove to Oklahoma? Well, if we were going to do that, we would have needed to take it when John took the big U-Haul. Because I could not, I don't know, if we put it sideways, maybe we could fit it in the back of the minivan, but I wouldn't be able to bring my kids if I did that. Wait, what was that? Sunny DIY said, yep, same here on the rocks, plus in town and can't dig deep. I love the continuous bag idea, but you have to buy in bulk. Exactly. Tubby Dude said, Rain, you need gummy worms to help them grow. Judith Ann said, I'm interested in your cook stove. Inbox me the link. How do I do that? Dirt says, Judith Ann, they won't let us PM on YouTube anymore. Can you email us? My email is dirtpatcheaven@gmail.com. Yes, thanks, Chicken Mommy. Yes, we're sorry to hear it. We thought we had it all set up and that it was supposed to be delivered this week on Wednesday. And then things didn't go right. Frugal Prepper made it. Hey there. Progressive Homemaker said, do you follow a daily schedule to get everything done without hubby there? All the years that we were here in the homestead, John worked a lot. He had 12-hour days when he was working for FedEx. And so John was never a huge, really homestead. It's not really his thing. The agreement was that if I wanted to get all these animals and keep them and do the homesteading, then it had to be my project and not his project. And so when John left, none of the chores changed. It's been the same chores. And I'm the one who's always done them. The girls help with them a little bit, but mostly it's my thing. You know, it's your, whatever you're passionate about, that's the thing that you don't really have to have a lot of encouragement to go do it. For me, what's a lot harder is the cooking and the cleaning of the house and that kind of thing. And in the small house, it's actually really nice because there's less of that. And so I really do feel like it's my happy place because very little washing of dishes, very little laundry. Most of my time can be spent outside. And I think the hardest part about having John gone is kind of the emotional parenting thing. Not having somebody here physically present to talk about on with the kids and just life in general. So it's not necessarily a physical fatigue as much as it is kind of an emotional thing of what it's like to be, even though I'm not a single parent, I'm physically in this moment kind of a single parent because John's in Oklahoma. John has always been the kind of the ballast to my OCD, ADHD personality. And so not having him here, I don't slow down as much. Maybe that's a good way to put that. Michael R. said, Oklahoma would be too warm climate. Need to settle a little more north so you'll get 4 seasons. Is that like Missouri? Is that what you're thinking? Or Illinois? Everywhere that we visited. I think the one place I couldn't handle it would be Florida, because I really don't know what to do without some kind of cold weather. If you don't have some kind of cold weather, you're not living. If it wasn't for the fact that cold weather here keeps me from being able to grow things very well in the winter, that's the only thing I don't like about it here, is that I don't like it that my fruit trees every once in a while don't produce in a year because we had too much cold. I love winter. All right. Swan Creek Cabin, you get 2 goats, I get 2 guns. Sounds like a fair trade. Well, exactly. That's exactly how it's worked, is that John has had his own priority of things. Before we had YouTube, he was paying for all of it. And so it was just kind of a trade-off of, I really love to homestead. Don't make him homestead. He doesn't want to. It's my thing. And there were times when he was home, when he'd come and he'd help with the loading of the hay and that kind of thing. But he can't really do that now with his back. And I don't really want to do that anymore, to tell you the honest truth. I had a couple years where I was hauling a lot of hay and a lot of straw, and I really overdid it. Again, one of the reasons I want a smaller piece of property, and why I like to have fewer goats and shooting, and more than anything, he just likes to spend time with his family. He's a real family type of a guy. And when I get into one of my OCD, ADHD, I'm going to do this things, I don't slow down and take time to come in and have family time, because I love to be outside. I would never come inside if I had a choice. And so without John around to be like, honey, remember you have a family, you have children, you have a husband, you should come cuddle for a minute. That's really in our relationship, is he works really hard at work. He's a very hard worker, but he knows how to slow down and rest and relax and not work too, which is a skill that I don't have very well. Let's see. Adventurous Aardvark. She's going to go for 2 hours. I sense it. What is that supposed to mean? Yeah, exactly. Mr. Dirt said it. John helps with the big projects, not the day-to-day. That's when I'm off at work. Exactly. Lemonade Farm. I got to go deal with critters before it's completely dark. See y'all later. Bye, Lemonade Farm. Mr. Dirt, not sure, Aardvark. That'd be unexplored territory. She may reach critical mass and all we see is a flash. Oh, you guys are funny. Sunny DIY said, LOL, Mikey said the same thing to me. It's my project. He's being supportive, but he's a city boy and says he gets his food from the store like a normal person. LOL. Slowly, he's warming up to it. Well, for us, it's so much about budget, too. It's so nice to just kind of make those decisions about, well, I'm going to make X, Y, and Z. We don't need to get it at the store. I just had to put extra time into it. I don't have a grocery budget for this week. You know, those kind of things. Like right now, I'm trading for yarn. I have a friend from church who has an enormous garden. She can't use it all, but she likes to knit and crochet. And so we went and got a couple of bushels of vegetables, including cantaloupes, which is amazing in our area. Word to the wise, cantaloupes are not vegetables, they're fruit. And I'm just going to give her some goat's milk and some yarn. And that made it so that this week I don't have to go grocery shopping. I just made mozzarella. We have buttermilk and all sorts of other things in the fridge. So it's nice when you could, even though we don't have a huge amount of dry goods as food storage, I don't have to go to the grocery store this week. I have eggs for my chickens, you know. Let's see. Mr. Rain said, Mr. Dirt, my job. I am like a life-size doll for Mrs. Rain to dust from time to time. That's why I can't get off tonight. I'm sorry, guys. The reason I don't turn the video off is because I can't miss any of these comments. They are hilarious. Progressive Homemaker said, do you have real-life friends near you that homestead too? Yes, most of my friends now have goats from my herd. Usually when they see what we're doing and what we're able to do on such a small piece of land, they get into it, and we end up selling them goats and finding them chickens and finding them ducks and finding them rabbits, and then we all trade back and forth when our genetics improve. So yes, most of my friends own some animal that I at one time owned. All right, Tubby Dude said, come to the Tennessee. What did that say? Why does it keep doing that? Okay, come to the Tennessee Cumberland Plateau. Let's see. Sorry, guys, I'm having a hard time getting it to scroll. Mr. Dirt, John is a prepper, not a homesteader. Donna Hong said, Missouri, neighbors with Doug and Stacy. I know, right? I love Doug and Stacy. They have more. I needed a good laugh, guys. I'm more energized now. The Have More Farm said, John is a preppy. Rain Country, good gravy, Mr. Rain. Matthew Roddy said, a homesteader is a prepper. That is very true. Mr. Dirt said, that would explain the Hefner shirts have more. Southern Texas Homestead said, Florida is overpopulated, too restricted, can't off-grid. That is why I just moved from there to Texas. I hope you're not in Houston right now. We'll pray for you. I like the option of being off-grid. I love it as an option. It makes me feel like I live more purposefully. I love lighting candles at night. I love having an outhouse. I love having a wood stove. All those things make me so happy. Makes me feel like I'm really involved in my own life. I love those things. Now, I won't deny that I'm also excited to be in Oklahoma and remember what it's like to have a washing machine. That would also be fun to experience. But I do feel like that will be short-lived. I think setting things up effectively off-grid can be just as easy as being on-grid. And in my heart of hearts, I really just love being off-grid. Now, if you shoot yourself in the foot by doing it too early in the spring and you don't have insulation in your little cabin and you're not prepared, that is miserable. But once you get your systems in place, it's pretty neat. Poor farmer said, do you pop your collar in college now? Can't imagine John with a popped collar. That would be awesome. That would be so funny. Oh, let's see. Biddy B. Brown said, well, if y'all get close enough, I can help with your critters when y'all get here because I'm always home. We would love to come see you, Biddy Boo. If I can make it scroll down without skipping too far ahead. I just can't get over your comments tonight, guys. They're cracking me up. Progressive Homesteader said, Mr. Dirt, isn't homesteading the ultimate prepping plan? Yes, it is. Homesteading is the ultimate prepper plan because it continuous feeding. It isn't just having storage in the basement. It's about having things on the hoof that continue to feed you and grow your soil better and all that. What is that? I don't understand that. What did I miss, guys? I missed something. What's a guy girl thing? Rain Country, does John wear Izod polos with the collar up? Mr. Rain, chuckle, Mr. Rain, haha. You guys are so funny. Patrick and Heidi get on at the same time, and then you get an aardvark, and used to be not the what do you call yourself now? Tell me your name again. Sorry, guys. When you change your channel name, and I know what your real name is, I keep wanting to call you your real name, but I know that I can't. So it's not that. Mr. Dirt, it is progressive, but I draw the line at milking a goat. You have milked a goat before. Progressive Homemaker said, I agree with you. It is best to know your limits. Bigger land is not always better. Brown said, LOL, Mr. Dirt. Hubby milks once in a while for me. What did you say? Mr. Dirt, I'm not going to read that out loud because I don't understand what it meant, and I don't know if it's somewhat naughty. So, what are you saying, Mr. Dirt? Mr. Dirt, I have milk for Julie when she's off on location, yes. But usually the renter does it, or Paige. Sunny DIY, yes, I fully agree. I don't like paying for what I could do for myself. He would rather just pay for the convenience. He says if the apocalypse comes, he knows he's screwed, LOL. Biddy Boo Brown says, get a milker. I have a small one that works. I don't mind milking by hand. I've used the little ones that are the little handle ones, but I don't like having to clean them. Mr. Dirt, but like all lines, a hubby draws. You are awesome. Mommy, laughter is good for you. Yes, I feel like I'm 100% entertained tonight, and I just can't get off because you guys are all so funny. MVS Farm said, my problem is that my grant is an enabler when it comes to homesteading. I know, every homesteader needs an enabler, somebody who pays for it all and just kind of turns a blind eye to all the strange things that we try. Oh, gotcha. Biddy Boo Brown says, I normally milk by hand, but hubby uses milker. LO, gotcha. Mr. Rain says, DIY. Okay, Mr. Dirt, here we're going to start. Mr. Dirt, or running water. Mr. Dirt, or a water heater. I know, dear. Sunny DIY, that's great. You can homestead and he can protect the homestead and prep. It's a great combo. It's a crazy combo. If I told you some of the things, like when we had the eclipse coming, anybody walk down the lane, just shoot them. And I'm like, I can't even ask if what they really want is a drink of water. I have to shoot them before they even say anything. That, I mean, he was concerned about leaving us for the eclipse. Or a light bulb. Or an air conditioner. Nifty Thrifty Homestead said, we love our outdoor shower. We have a portable on-demand heater for it. See, and I love outdoor showers. I think they're fantastic. If it didn't get so cold here in the afternoon when we shower, we would still be using the outdoor one. Now I have used a hula hoop and a couple shower curtains and a big wash tub, and now we're showering indoors just because it is a little chilly outside. Having both. And let's see, Southern Texas Homestead said, thanks, not in Houston, just outside of Jasper, and love it. I'm not sure where Jasper is. Okay, Chicken Mommy said, Mr. Dirt, you could have most of those things with solar. That is true. Wood heat. Matthew Roddy said, modern living does make you feel good, but nothing makes you feel better than knowing you're independent from the system. I love your passion for life. Thank you. Nifty Thrifty Homestead said, we are on the grid. The plumbing isn't completely done. Gotcha. Avon Leanne made it. Hello. Okay. See you, Nifty Thrifty. Have More Farm said, you can call me by my real name. Nobody knows me anyway. Carney. I know, right? I know, but for a minute there, I was trying to remember Subdriver. There we go. Subdriver. I was like, I've got to remember 3 different names for you now. Which one am I allowed to use? Okay, Quiet Bean said that bit about working all the time, and hubby says to come in for family time. Oh, gotcha. Mr. Dirt said, no, it wasn't in any way naughty. For too long. Yes, we have been apart for too long. Avalian said, sorry I'm late. What are your heating options? Right now it is candles and kerosene lanterns, and they seem to do a fine job, but we're pretty chilled in the morning when we get out of our blankets. We're going to resort to bit like a Mr. Buddy or whatever they're called. And then I would really like to transition to a rocket mass heater, but that is something that is going to have to wait. So we're just kind of tipping between a lot of different options, waiting for the real cold weather to get in, and it is making me nervous. Avalian said, Julie, isn't the wood stove your best option? It would be if it wasn't so big, and it would be pretty expensive to install it right now, and we can't get a long enough draft to make it effectively. Progressive Homemaker said, can you please do a video on milking, as that will be new to me coming this spring? Yes, for sure. And in fact, we just did one we did it with Willow Creek Homestead, and I think I put it up last week. Mr. Dirt, you're so full of it. Gerald Buckley said, hi from Tulsa. Does John have downtime for meeting homestead friendly folks? Think you've been chatting with my better half already. A tiny bit of time to meet people. A couple of times that we met on our RV trip, but his school is pretty intensive. So you can email us at dirtpatcheaven@gmail.com, and then I can forward it to him, because he does like to go out and hang out with people. He does get lonely. Flying VS Farm said, haha, I was like that when I first started watching that show, would occasionally glance over my shoulder. What show? What are you talking about, Rebecca? Havmar Farm, all of them. Nobody knows me in the sailing community either, so I get to use all of them. Well, that's good. Avalian, have one of the heater buddies is a good option, but it needs open windows. Exactly. Okay. Oh, The Walking Dead. Hey guys, I made it to the bottom of the comments. Matthew Roddy said, does your wood cook stove not keep the house warm? I only use wood for my entire house. It's 4,000 square feet. Wood will always keep the house warm. Yes, the problem is our wood stove is too big. We don't have it plumbed in yet because we cannot get a long enough pipe that will work effectively. We need 16 feet, and it would make it look like we were the mast of a boat or something. Shalom Home said, by the way, thanks so much for putting the North versus South with Deep South Homestead series together. We're looking to head south when the bus conversion is finished. That's awesome. Okay, everybody's done being funny, so I'm going to go shower my kids. Anybody have any last words? Any snarky remarks from Aardvark about rocks? Any snarky comments from Mr. Dirt about showers? Any snarky comments from Patrick about how I need more land? Any more snarkiness, get it out of your system now. Progressive Homemaker said, what are your short-term and long-term plans? I don't have any of those. I am getting my garden ready right now so that if we're back in the spring, I can just plant into it, getting the house nice and tight and happy so that we can leave it safely. Other than next year's garden, I have no plans because I don't know if John will have a job by then or if the YouTube thing will still be happening. I really don't know anything. Oh, Chicken Mommy says, Julie, that milking video was good. Could you go into more of how the milk teas, or do you mean tastes? Rocks. Southern Texas Homestead, has anyone tried olive oil in oil lamps? I haven't, but I've made candles out of tallow and sheep's fat before, and it worked well. Mr. Rain, last word. Deep South Homestead said, come by for a visit, Shalom Home. Rebecca, you're awesome. Flying Biz Farm said, sounds like the girls need pet rocks for Christmas. Oh my goodness, you guys are so funny. I wish I could record all these comments and go read them later because it was hilarious. Pawpaw's Hobby Farm said, can you turn rocks into compost? I don't think so. Adventurous Aardvark. The Aardvark shuffles off. Good night, all. Matthew Roddy, snark, snark, smile, keep trucking, love your channel. Thanks, guys. Oh, teats. Gotcha. Okay. Nothing snarky from the aardvark. Okay. Well, I believe that Mr. Rain won tonight for all of the hilarity. He definitely took the cake on this one. So we will talk to you later.